What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's new, pussycat? Whoa, 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 whoa.
Hi, this is Ray Bertolino, the news director here at WHPC Radio, the voice of Nassau Community College. If you're a Nassau Community College student who's interested in a career in news broadcasting, if you think you might have what it takes to report and produce top-notch newscasts covering local, national, and international news, and business and entertainment and sports news, then give me a call, Ray Bertolino, at 516-572-7439. That's 516-572-7439 at WHPC Radio, the voice of Nassau Community College. I look forward to hearing from you.
What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, WHPC, Garden City, New York.
You're listening to the Motor Mouth.
What are we talking about? This is a car show.
Finally, I got through after 2.5 weeks. Thanks a lot, guys. You're the best, man.
Motor Mouth.
Is this the radio program where automotive enthusiasts can be spoken down to?
Are we on the air now?
I turned on PMN and I heard you guys on there.
Motor Mouth.
You guys are really getting around, man. I don't know.
Yeah, it's great. You guys handle it pretty well, too. I just was listening through the computer.
On the download, the motormouthradio.com website.
I did get to see the GTO.
Motor Mouth.
You know, I didn't know if it really existed or not, if it was a figment of Ray's imagination.
No problem. Great show, guys. I've been listening to you guys for many years. Love your show, and this is about the 5th time I've actually got the nerve up to call.
Our trained staff of 2 will help.
Well, you guys are the tech experts, not me.
Is it the jerk who, like all the other jerks who listen to this show?
You guys are so easy to play along.
Quite frankly, there are better things to do with your time.
This was wonderful. I think it's the second time I've ever been on a radio, and I'm liking it.
Yeah, I want to know what the is wrong with my car.
You guys are hilarious.
Yeah, I feel like I need to talk to an attorney and a policeman when I talk to you guys.
Motor Mouth.
I listen to Car Talk as well.
Glad to be here. Sounds like a lot of fun.
You know, like after calling you guys, I'm probably going to blow out another brake line or 2 in the next week.
There are answers, sometimes correct ones, and we may have them.
Motormouth Radio, 90.3 FM, WHPC.
Motor Mouth.
This is Motormouth Radio, your 1-hour automotive talk show. And now, here are your Motormouths, Chris Switzer and Ray Guarino.
Alrighty, automotive help for those that don't really need automotive help. They listen to us. We're Motormouth Radio, your 1-hour automotive talk show right here on Long Island. I'm Chris Switzer, and of course, here's a man that's looking to book Donald Trump on this program just to get the protesters to come and listen to what we do. And he's going to tell you all about it from behind the shop bench right now. It's Ray Guarino. How are you, my brother?
Good, Chris. And I did talk to Donald, and he fired me. So we're not going to get him on unless he just buys the whole place and then it becomes the Donald Trump show. But no, I'll tell you who's listening. I'll tell you. Anybody who's big or moving and shaking in the automotive world right now is currently out at SEMA.
True. So they're not listening to us.
So don't worry, we're right here. We didn't go anywhere because all the big, important guys are at SEMA.
SEMA now, yes.
Correct. So listen, it's good to be back again. I want to thank, of course, Joe D for filling in on Sunday. That was always great.
He warmed your seat, but not your shoes.
Well, he was standing, so he warmed the rug. You know?
He warmed his shoes.
Gives the show a different feel. It's actually kind of good to hear, a different take.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's nice. Joe brings a lot to the table, and we always like that.
Very true.
But I tell you what, I was forced. I didn't get to hear the show live because I was traveling.
You were forced to yell at your computer instead of your radio.
I did get to hear it in download mode, and it took me back to a time 12, 13 years ago when I was a mere listener like the rest of the listeners.
Yes.
And it did find me yelling at you. I was like, a couple of topics came up, and there was softballs, and I was like, I got the answer right now. And you and Joe both said, no, we don't know anything about that. I'm like, you idiots, we covered that. Not meant to Joe, meant to you. And let me clarify, I want to give that stuff out, and I did take care of this via an email also.
Okay.
The topic of paint wraps came up. Tom from Massapequa. We've talked about paint wrapping because I remember I said I was going to have my Fiat paint wrapped.
Yes, you did say that.
Yes, Jimmy at Freeport Auto has a guy that moved in-house that does paint wrapping, graphics, and 3D printing.
Okay.
And
Tom, you listening?
Tom knows. I sent him an email. Trust me, I sent him all the information he needs. And then with that, concurrently, he asked about the dip-it process.
Right.
Dung on the head again. Remember, Mike Manning at Celebrity Chase Collision we were talking about the wheels on my wife's, well, the car she was driving, now the one my daughter's driving, that the aluminum wheels had corroded. Mike said, why don't we use the dip-it process? This is going back about a year and a half. Mike went over and grabbed a fender and showed me, this was dipped, and he peeled it off, and then we talked about it. We had talked about on the show about the and I think, of course, when I said I was going to maybe have the wheels in the car dipped, your thought was, of course, were they going to be bright orange, bright pink, bright green? And I said, no, we're going to go like a silver gray.
Okay.
So we covered all this. It is possible. And I did do some homework. I have a lot of stuff. The cost really varies depending on where you go.
Right.
And it is, wrapping, getting back to wrapping. It's like a big sticker, like a big decal.
Yes.
To answer a question that came up, no, it doesn't hurt the car underneath. There is a process they have to do, like when you paint a car. You have to clean it and get it dust-free and oil-free. So they do have to remove the wax.
Correct.
But in a nutshell, when you remove that wrap, either to replace a section for repair or because you just don't want it on anymore, you clean the car, wax it, and you're back to the original paint.
Okay, good to know.
It also is used sometimes as a preservative for the paint in harsh weather because it
I was
resists
actually thinking of that. The UV rays of the sun probably aren't going to attack it because the wrap is there.
You did hit on it. You mentioned the buses that have wraps across the window. You can see out, but you can't see in.
Which I think is cool.
Yeah, that is one. That's one actually. One of the things. So there's a lot of information. I guess if people want to know more, they can. They say it's also comparable to a paint job in cost. Plasti dip, on the other hand. A lot of ways you can do it. You can get kits to do it at home, and you can get big commercial kits. A shop can get a big commercial kit so they can do body panels. Mike, I think, sprayed this stuff on.
Okay.
A lot of ways of doing it.
This is the stuff that we were talking about, similar, that you were able to dip up
on tool handles.
Right, tool handle that would make like a plastic coating.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's it. Plastic dip is a rubber-based removable coating that can be applied to your vehicle to change the look of a part or the entire car. Wheels, trim, and emblems guys will do, typically. And that's why Mike had mentioned the wheels.
I really don't, personally, I don't see a reason for it.
Well, here's the case. In the case of the car that I was talking about, the aluminum wheels are degrading. They're starting to, your wheels will do the same thing on a Pathfinder.
My Pathfinder is doing it with a vengeance right now.
And this car was doing it kind of aggressively on a couple of the wheels as well. So instead of replacing the wheels now, you clean them and you plaster dip them. You encapsulate all of that badness that now can't go anywhere. Now you not only have a nice finish, you have a nice color, and there's a perfect example of why. Some guys do it just to change the color.
Well, I'm just thinking of the weather, because you're talking about rims. They're attacked by the environment fiercely.
Right.
And is this stuff going to be able to put up with that punishment?
Well, here's the answer. A quality dip job lasts about 3 years, they're saying. And about, I guess, meaning like where you live, what your environmental concerns are, things like that.
Rocks, road salt.
Salt, environmental stuff, right. Dipping your car.
High curbs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, well, you'll peel it right off. But then you can re-dip it. You can fix that section. Dipping a car is actually much more affordable than a vinyl wrap or paint job. The wrap is a lot more involved because there's computer graphics that go into it, and it's big sheets, so that the stuff costs more. But the beauty of both of them is they can both be spot fixed.
Okay.
So like I said, if your whole car was wrapped and your fender got dented and the wrap got damaged, they can reprint just the fender part and reapply it.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not. It's more permanent the less the car, I guess, is used in the environment. So if you had a car, say a show car, or a car that was only used for summer use,
right,
and you wanted to, like if I did my Fiat, I don't use the car. I use it in the winter, but not in the snow so much, and it's parked outside the UV light. So that dip or wrap would last a lot longer than a car that was run around every day.
I'm wondering if that graphic will get washed out by the sun, just like a paint finish would.
No, they claim no. And if you look at the buses and vans and most of the things you see around here now that have graphics on them, it's a wrap. Because to paint it would be ridiculously expensive.
Well, you would think that the ones that are on the buses are fairly recent. They're not going to stay on that. They're not going to keep that wrap on a bus for years. Well, they're going to keep it on for weeks, maybe months.
I can show you a picture. I just put my daughter on a bus to take a trip upstate, and that bus, their graphics are wrapped on the bus. That's staying. They're not changing their graphics. If they had advertising, the advertising could change.
Well, that's what I was thinking, the advertising.
Right, but we're not talking city buses here.
Oh.
We're talking private buses.
Yeah, I'm thinking you got that Studebaker ad in that wrap.
Then I don't think. Well, you could. They could pay for the wrap, and that would be, that would turn over with advertising.
Right.
But no, I'm talking about private buses, coach buses, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, any private vehicle that's used in commercial entity, the plumber or whatever.
I think even those buses that will wrap their bus with their logos and their pitches, and I really think that they're going to change just as much, or maybe even they can't leave them on for a year or two. I mean,
Sure you can.
They're gonna,
Why does Trailways doesn't change their logo?
No, but they'll change that wrap. I would assume they're not changing the logo. They keep it to freshen it up to make it look different. You can't just
here you go. Here's the Megabus my daughter was on. I don't see them changing that logo. That's their logo. That's Megabus.
But I'm thinking that. Well, hold on. Let me hold this up.
I mean, they could. They certainly could if they chose to, but it would be a cost involved. And I think when you pick a nice logo and it's it's not offensive and it's going to be timely, it's your logo. It doesn't change.
There's my longtime radio colleague taking a picture of a bus.
Yeah, well, of course. I wanted to document it so I knew where she'd be. And they could change it if they chose, but they don't have to.
Right.
So that's that.
I would think because it's so easy that it would be more prevalent to change it every once in a while.
It would be a corporate decision because there is cost involved.
Well, true, but I don't think they're going to leave a logo like that on there for 2 or 3 years. Just like here's the reason why. Even in my employment, the networks change their graphic look every 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
They do this, and they don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to, but they do it just to keep it fresh, to keep the people viewing. And I would assume that advantageous advertisers and marketers would probably think the same way.
You're right. In that case, it can be done. It can be done weekly. If they want to incur the expense, they could do it.
Right.
So whatever they do with that is on their own.
Okay.
The next thing that came up.
Yes.
I forgot who mentioned it, but somebody was asking about, a caller was asking about an SUV or a small SUV, but they wanted a stick shift.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember now the caller who it was. And you guys said, no, there's none in the market that we know of. Well, I almost bought one, and I talked about it on this show. At the time, it was the Mazda 5. We looked at it at the New York Car Show, you and I. It's the Mazda 5 that came out.
But that was 2000 when?
Right. That was a while ago.
Yeah.
The Mazda 5 has now morphed into the Mazda CX-5.
Okay.
And I took this right off Mazda's website. The base model, just like with the 5, is available with the 6-speed manual transmission.
Son of a gun.
Still. So there is a small SUV with
because
stick shift.
Honda, they dropped their 5 speeds, I think, in 2006 in their pilots and passports.
Okay.
In 2002, Toyota dropped their 5-speed on the 4Runners.
Uh-huh.
And 2000 on the 4Runners. 2002, Nissan dropped their 5-speed on the Pathfinder.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, unless you want a chick truck, unless you want a CRV, or this is probably the biggest chick truck you're probably going to find.
It's not
pretty big.
I mean,
the CR5 is pretty big.
The reason I wanted it, the reason they've redesigned it. The one I was looking at, the 5 was more like a minivan-ish look.
Mm-hmm.
But I found it to be a very utilitarian vehicle. It
Right.
worked well. I mean, I don't need it for little kids anymore, but I need it for moving stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, if you kept up on your data, you would know. Or if you listen to the show. So I just had I found myself again saying, wait a minute.
I wasn't thinking of the Mazda.
I know.
I literally was thinking of it's so funny when you think of SUVs.
Right.
Mazda's not really a company that comes up as 1, 2, or 3.
No, they certainly don't sell the most. No,
mm-hmm. Even Ford with an Explorer.
Well, the Windstar.
The Windstar doesn't come with a
No.
stick.
But I was just thinking minivan. That was their Windstar.
Right.
No, they don't come with a stick.
Right. The Explorer, they stopped making sticks, I think, in 2003.
Okay.
In the Explorer, I think you could still get an Escape, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the Escapes. Because I've seen newer Escapes, like 2006, 2005, 2006, with a stick.
Yeah, it's all possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in answer to your question, I think we were right when we said that.
I'm looking. I don't know. I got to disagree. I'm looking at what do they call this thing? It's a sport, but I don't know what they call the vehicle. If it has, if it's an SUV or that there was another.
I left because I was actually reading an article a while back about a Mazda stick, but it wasn't new. It was somewhere around 2012, 2013, and they had mentioned if you can find a stick car with the nav system, a Mazda with a stick car with a nav system, they were like, good luck, you'll never find one. I'm thinking to myself, I
have one.
I know someone who's got one.
And I had a special order the car to do it.
Yeah. And I'm thinking you probably have or will have a very rare vehicle.
Yeah, but no one's going to want it.
Well, you never know.
Nah.
Hey, come on. You think about your grandkids will probably be restoring it.
Yeah, right. Well, good for them.
Look at what Grandpa Ray had.
Yeah.
The TV screen.
Rare option.
Yeah, the TV screen and the self shifter or the shifter with the handle on it. Yeah.
Rare. One of only. I don't know how many of what it is. I do know this. When I ordered the car and I called to check on it a few weeks later, because it took a couple months. It came over on a ship from Japan, and I called the dealership and talked to someone I hadn't spoke to before and said, "Yeah, I'm calling to check on the status of my vehicle."
They asked if you wanted to sell it.
No, he asked me. He says he looked up. He says, "Oh, you're the guy who ordered the car with the loaded Mazda with the stick." I was like, "Yeah, that's me." He says, "I was waiting and I wanted to know who that was." He goes, "I wanted to talk to you." He goes, "Why did you do that?" I'm like, "Well, because obviously I wanted all the creature comforts, but I wanted the stick shift." He goes, "Yeah, that's exactly how I would have done it."
Because obviously I'm a weirdo.
So there were other people out there that like it too, but most people don't.
I would like to think that it's part of those 11 Hemi Cuda convertibles from 1971.
Yeah,
I like to think of things like that.
That's not happening.
That's your 2006 equivalent.
No. I'll tell you what. We have another suggestion for the honor group of the hour.
All right.
Joe D sent it in.
Oh.
And then I want to talk a little bit about car shows. We have a couple of controversial topics today.
Sounds good.
This was something off, I think, AOL, and it was about a guy who pulled into a parking lot, went to get a spot, and the only spot left was the cars had crowded the spot.
Mm-hmm.
So there used to be that, and he talked about how to handle that kind of tongue-in-cheek without bashing people's windows or flattening tires.
Right.
And there used to be some business cards that people had printed up years ago that they stuck on the windows and
I remember them.
saying something like,
"Thank you for taking 2 spots, you moron."
Yeah, next time, leave a can opener so I can get
get into my car.
Well, this is pretty cool. It's a piece of paper with a big picture of a turtle, and it says, "Many 3-year-olds have trouble staying within the lines. Maybe if you practice coloring this turtle, it will help with your parking." So the honor group of the hour are people who I guess it's the people who hog up the parking spots.
Okay, let's just.
Thank you, Joe.
Show that. I'm sure Joe probably was surprised he got this on his windshield. I don't know. Well, let's play some music. Who are the honor group again, Ray?
People who hog parking spots.
That's it. So
and can't color.
If you can't get it between the lines, you're part of the Motormouth Radio honor group of the hour. So please keep it where you got it right here to Motormouth Radio, because we've got a lot more controversy and a lot more stuff coming your way. Hold on.
The Motormouths will be right back with your car questions. Give us a call at 516-572-7440.
WHPC 90.3, the radio voice of Nassau Community College, is looking for individuals, businesses, charities, or organizations in our local and global community that would like to donate to support our radio station. Whether you listen locally or online, here is how it works. Go to our webpage at ncc.edu/WHPC and click Donate Now. Or if you prefer, you can send a check to WHPC Radio, 1 Education Drive, Garden City, New York, 11530. Make check payable to the NCC Foundation. In the memo of your check, write WHPC Donate Now. Any contributions will help defray our operating costs, and it's tax deductible. This message was brought to you by the radio voice of Nassau Community College, streaming online at ncc.edu/WHPC.
Got a car question? Give the Motormouths a call at 516-572-7440.
We're back with a vengeance. This is Motormouth Radio, your one-stop shopping for anything automotive right here. Ray Guarino behind the shop bench. I'm Chris Switzer. We're going to the phones, and we're going to say hi. You're on with the Motormouths.
Hello, Chris. Hello, Professor Ray. This is Howie. How you guys doing on this Thursday?
Ready, Ray?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. It's the Big Man. What's up, Sam the Sham? How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm on the computer. I'm looking at you live. I'm streaming. I'm seeing you guys. You look handsome.
Get the wee-wee pad ready.
Yes. Free
and you're throwing the bottle of water in my face already.
How are you, Cookie? What are you doing? Other than watching us, what are you doing?
I'm just taking it easy today. Got a day off because I worked on the weekend, and looking at November 8th with Joey D with Belmont, or going to Fort Totten with the Buick Club. So I'm making a choice this weekend.
That's fantastic. That is wonderful, Howie. And what would you say? On behalf of a grateful nation, we are all sitting at the edge of our seats because of it.
I didn't know you were getting so political.
Well, we're not. But you know what? I have a question for you, Howie. But first I want to drop a couple factoids in because this is inconsequential. Anyway, I didn't get to give my October report on callers, but this October was kind of a banner month for Motormouth Radio.
Why was that?
We had 32 calls in the month, 2 new calls, and 12 guests. That's actually a peak. That's a spike on the pie chart of or on the line chart of our existence.
And what is our average amount of calls per month?
You know, I never figured out a hard average, but I'd say that on callers somewhere in the 20s.
Okay.
New callers 1 to 2 maybe, and then guests anywhere. The average is probably around 6.
And
6 to 8.
How many times does Howie call?
I could figure it out, but it's a lot. And I did I did have my 1,000th show in October, the day that Dina was in with her World Champion Pro Mod
Son
trophy.
of a gun!
It was my 1,000th show.
Wow.
1,000th show. Congratulations,
Yes.
Professor.
Well, thanks. I'm still waiting for the piece of cake. I didn't get it.
Hey, I've given you cake.
Yes, you have.
Yeah.
And we had to soak it in water just to keep it from ticking.
Yeah.
Right.
So any other banner information that you have for us, Howie?
Not really. I just, it's a kind of a gloomy day. What I can say, I did able to repair that 01 Oldsmobile Aurora. Had a crank sensor, and what else did we have? A motor mount that went on that car.
Yeah, common things as vehicles age. Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's kind of, I'll tell you, it is quite honestly a baby North Star 3.5 V6 twin cam with about 250 horse. Pretty respectable for that year of 2001.
I'll tell you what you need to do now with motor mounts, because I've run into this problem a few times on different cars. It really pays to remove the mount and bring it to the parts store and get a visual check on a replacement part before you buy it, because I've had wrong ones sold to me. They've been sold to me in error because there was multiple parts available. So that's always something you want to do, is double check those motor mounts.
I agree totally. Thank you for that suggestion.
And I have a question for you, Howie. This came up through the weeks. I was talking to a couple people, and here's the scenario. You go to a lot of car shows, so you're the perfect guy to answer and speak to this. The people who go, 2 groups of people go to car shows. There's the attendees, the visitors, who spend up to like $5 or more to go enter that show and see the cars and whatever's on display. Then there are the car show participants, like yourself. And I don't know what your average buy-in is, but I'd say it's probably $20 to $25 to enter a show. Is that correct?
True.
Okay, so I don't know how many shows you do a year. You do quite a few, so you've spent quite a lot of money over the year to show your car. And
true, yes.
Now, when you do that, this was the thought that came to my light, and I want you to speak to it. When you do that, when you have your entry fee, and maybe you come with some of your family, and now you buy food and you buy some other stuff and trinkets, you can have a fairly expensive day. Gas in the car, the whole 9 yards. And the thought was that the promoter, whoever's putting on the show, is benefiting from everybody. Obviously, if there were no cars at the show, there'd be no people to come to look at the cars. So the cars are the stars, let's say,
right?
If we agree on that. And yet the cars, which are the stars, have to pay to be there. So is it an unbalanced equation in your mind if you think of it that way or not? And that is the question. So I value your opinion, Howie, and I'd like you to give me yours.
I agree with that. Sometimes it's yes and sometimes it's no. If there's a benefit car show, like with Sandy Kane for prostate CA.
Right. We're not talking about the benefit shows. If it's, a breast cancer or whatever.
I'm fine with. But for the average show that it happens 15, 20, 25, it does add up. And, in the last few years, you have to decide which shows you're going to go and which shows you're not. Also, I have other things in the equation with the family and the kids and the wife. So
but I don't want to stray from the actual core topic here. You've already decided to, obviously if you decide to cut out some shows, you found a way to budget because you're just not going to go to certain shows.
Because it can be, with some of the Buick guys and the Caddy guys, it can be expensive. You take out your old Caddy. You're looking at, with the family, with fuel, you're looking at close to $100.
That's what I'm saying.
To go to a show.
Now, some people travel to go to that show. They travel a distance, so that's included. Some people bring more than one car to a show.
That's true. They do. They do have, like my friend Marty from the Pontiac Club, he gets his wife and his daughter involved, and he brings all his Pontiacs.
And that's times however many cars. So, that's the thought. I guess there's no rumblings here of a grassroots movement to kind of overthrow car shows. That's not where I'm going. I just want to throw it out as a topic because this is what we do on this show. And I don't know if people have ever thought of it that way. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, you want me here so that people can come and see my car to bring your gate attendance up, yet I got to pay you to do it? You should be paying me. That's kind of the rumbling. And,
I think really it should, I know it takes time and effort to organize a show, but it should be a reasonable amount. It should be some thoughts. I know that when we go to shows in Connecticut, they give us it was a reasonable entry fee, which is maybe $5 or $10, and they give you lunch.
Now that's if you come as a club, I imagine.
Yes.
Okay, that's if you get they've been doing that for years. Clubs will get a discount, but if you're an individual, you'd still pay full boat on that.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Yes, you do.
Well, that's what I wanted. I just wanted to get the feeling of the group here because it's come up and it's something I've thought about over the years. And I'm not a big car show guy. I don't go to a lot of car shows, So it's not really something that affects me.
Interesting.
But some people spend a lot of money. What do you think, Chris? What's your take on that?
Well, I'm also thinking that the owner of the car who's paying to get his car in the show is also contributing to the show and also probably receiving the accolades to those people that come over and appreciate his vehicle, and he was able to talk about it. And I'm wondering if that has some sort of monetary value as well.
Well, yeah. There's a lot. It becomes a lot of independent things because you could do the same thing at a cruise night for free.
That is true.
Granted, at the show, if you were to win a trophy, a nice little plastic trophy, well, here's your Medal of Honor. Some people love it. Some people go just for the trophies. They do. Some people love to get the trophy.
And those costs have to come from somewhere.
Exactly.
Right. Yes, it is expensive to have it. I know that in New Jersey with the Cadillac Club, they've gone to with ribbons instead of trophies.
Oh, okay.
To cut the cost down.
Right.
Just to keep the costs at bay. No, we understand that, but that's something I would think is whatever the costs are to run the show, the manpower included in handling all of the responsibilities therein.
Well, remember, in with the GTO Club with Crab Meadow, they win. Sometimes they go with trophies, and sometimes they've gone with plaques, if I remember right.
Right. A lot of clubs, Billy G does plaques. Well, he has participant trophies, too. You're right, and that's why I said there's many faceted, but clubs like that are entities unto themselves. I guess what this speaks to is the guys who are the promoters, the car show promoters, whose business it is to put on a car show, and that's how they make their money.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's always been pointed at them. I can go back 25 years where guys were always saying, hey, how much money this guy makes doing this show? And my answer was, so don't go.
Right.
Don't do it.
Vote with your feet.
And I'm not looking to vilify the promoters because that's what they do and they're entitled to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I choose not to go and give them the money to do the show. So that's, I do. I vote with my feet.
Right.
Or my tires. I'll park in the street.
Yeah, sure. At the President's Council meeting, there's been discussions in probably the last 10 years about the professionals in the sport, and there has been a consensus and a discussion with Bill Carberry that we don't support them. We should support, the car clubs and not the business of it.
So not the pro. That again, that's the exact argument I'm speaking to. Not the promoters, right? And there's shows around. There's a couple of them on the island now that are quite large and do quite a lot of shows. In fact, one of them even has a point system where as the more shows you attend, you accrue points.
I think that's with AutoFest has that.
Well, I was trying to keep the name out of it, but since you chose not to, that's right. That's exactly who it is. So what do they do with the points when you accrue them? What happens with those points, Howie?
With that points, you're able to get gifts, get some food vouchers, be able to have a discount on getting in a show.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. So that'll ease your burden at the next show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There are some good people in the sport.
Do you have to be like the top 5% of the point earners, or does it trickle down so that the guy who really is in the middle of his class can actually get a free hot dog once in a while too?
Yes, I think they're trying to have a fair system.
Well, that's
not
good.
Always the same people get the vouchers and coupons.
Right, because the guys with the top built cars, maybe I had a pro built car. He is probably going to get a trophy every time. So, right, why should he get the free hot dogs? Okay, good.
Right.
That's thanks for clarifying that, Howie.
Well, thank
Sure.
you, Bubba.
Hey. You guys be good.
Yes.
And have a good Thursday. Have a good weekend. And maybe I'll see you at Belmont.
All righty.
Joey D.
Okay.
We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right.
516-572-74 740.
Get the feeling for the first time Howie wanted to get the hell out of here.
I think you're right. I think he was going to try and chase us.
I don't blame him.
Yeah. No, but it's a good topic, and I'm thinking along the lines of, you got my head spinning because I'm saying, okay, so what do? You don't, let's take it one way. You don't charge the classic car owners to bring their car to there. So what do? You have to alleviate your cost by charging the participants to come and look at the cars. Well, how are you going to enforce something like that if you're in an open parking lot?
Well, the gate. There's always a gate you come through.
Well, there is, but a lot of places like where you did your car show, it was pretty much fenced in.
Most of them do.
Are there a lot of fenced in places?
Yeah, there are a lot. Yeah, there are. I mean, there's some that aren't, and you'd have to figure something out.
Right. You almost have to enforce some sort of border.
Yes.
Some sort of electric fence.
Well, no, yeah, something. Yeah, even temporary fencing, yeah.
to actually keep the non-payers out.
You're right.
And then I think that's...
No, you're right.
So now we're just adding on to the cost of the show. That's Ray Guarino. I'm Chris Switzer. This is Motormouth Radio. We're going to come back. We've got more calls coming your way at 516-572-7440. You know that. That's why we're here doing what we do every Sunday and Thursday, noon to 1. And also, you can check us out on Performance Motorsports Network, and you can also check us out on iHeartRadio. A lot of fun. Those guys support us. We support them. Got a lot more coming your way. Hold on.
Let the Motor Mouth help you with all of your car questions at 516-572-7440.
Yeah, I want to know what the is wrong with my car. You have a short in your horn.
Motormouth Radio, 90.3 FM, WHPC.
Tune in to Thunder Road for...
Hard-stopping, band-stopping, hard-rocking, earth-shocking, booty-shaking, love-making, Viagra-taking, yes-we-making, legendary.
Join me, Kim Tracy, for the music of Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band on Thunder Road, Thursdays at 11 p.m. and Sundays at 1 p.m. on 90.3 WHPC, and streaming at ncc.edu/WHPC. Let the Motor Mouth help you with all of your car questions at 516-572-7440.
Alrighty. Welcome back to Motormouth Radio, taking those calls. 516-572-7440. Ray Guarino, I'm Chris Switzer. Manning the board and watching the lights. Did I see the light? Is it me? It is?
Go,
okay, yes, it is going. Let's go to the phones. To the fun. Hi, you're on the Motormouth.
Kevin from Massapequa. How are you guys?
What's up, Kev? How you been, brother?
All right, I got a brain scratcher for you.
Oh, good.
All right, I get to work today, and the girl at work says they booted her car.
They booted. They put one of those...
Kicked it with a big jack boot.
They put one of those...
The yellow boot, and she had I guess, pay the ticket on the phone with the woman from the thing.
Right.
And the question is, how did they know where she was?
Well, who was it that booted the car? What was the...
Nassau County.
Ah, well, good question.
Yeah.
Good question.
Unless you're a creature of habit and show up at the same place at the same time.
Listen, if they know what car I drive, which they could get because they have schmatz, that's easy. They know what car I drive. They know where I live.
Right.
But how do they know where I work? Or when I'm at the mall?
Yeah, she lives in Suffolk, works in Nassau, and they picked her out of the parking lot.
Well, let me ask you, was she a scofflaw? Did she owe a lot of money maybe, or she might not have told you?
She had gotten a red light ticket back in March.
Okay.
One ticket.
Yeah, I don't think that's enough to go to DEFCON 4 over.
Right.
But I don't know.
Wow, there has to be some sort of...
Maybe DMV is able to petition the local police and say, hey, here's a person who falls in the category of not paying. Go get him.
Hey, Kevin, does she carry her Easy Pass with her?
Mm-hmm.
I guess it would be in the car. I'd have to ask her.
It may be on the windshield, and that's exactly how they would spot her, is what Chris is getting to.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I figured. It's got to let you know.
Because did you ever notice, now this is just a theory, did you ever notice nowadays you go under an overpass or under a traffic light and you see these white tiles, they're like a foot by a foot, pointing down at the ground?
I went under one of them last week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I figured also that, and when you're on the parkway, as I say, it says 10 minutes to Route 110. The only way they would know that is they would ping you once, and then when you get to someplace else, they'll say, okay, that's how long it's been taking.
That's the thing. When that came out, there was a big to-do in the papers saying if they can do it. It's an easy speed time calculation. It's not a hard thing to do.
Right.
Any sixth grade math student could do it. But the theory is now they know how fast you're going and where you are, and is that an intrusion of privacy? And it started this whole brouhaha. And obviously the system is still in effect. They said, no, we don't use it for that purpose. And then, of course, the other people said, but you could. And they said, well, we're not saying we could or we couldn't. Of course, everybody, blah, 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 blah.
But I'm just thinking that if we're looking at scofflaws, then there may be a governmental reason to pursue.
Well, that's the thing. Even if now we'll take it to the next level. Even if your Easy Pass was like mine, in the bag, in the glove compartment, when not in use, cell phone tracker. You can track through GPS on a cell phone unless you have it disabled.
But the phone isn't with the car.
It's with you.
It's with you.
But they know where you go. So I'm saying.
They know where you are, but they don't know where your car is in reference.
Well, a simple, say an officer who's assigned to that takes a drive by where that signal is. Hey, do I see, the 84 Honda sitting out there? Yeah, boot it. There you go.
Because there were 2 cars in the parking lot that got booted.
Okay.
So it's more than just random. I guess
they did it
for some people, and they got 2 of them.
They made it worth their while. Yeah.
Right.
Now, on the converse to that, it's about a year ago. The auto parts store by my house. There was a new worker there who's driving a late model Honda, kind of souped up. It was dropped down, different wheels, all sorts of boy racer stuff. And every time I saw it had this big yellow boot on the back wheel. I was like, what? Oh, they got him at work. And I asked one of the guys, because I saw it a couple times. They said, no, he boots his own car.
Yep.
And he did that so nobody would steal it.
Yeah.
I said, oh, what a great idea.
Yeah, there's a couple of guys around the corner from me that do that with the same, they have those same little rice rockets, and that's what they do. They boot them, only the boot is red. It's not, it does look like a civilian boot. It's not as beefy as those yellow county boots. It's kind of a lighter version of it, but still a deterrent nonetheless. But yeah, I noticed the same thing. I'm like, this poor guy is just getting slammed. But no, it's his. I watched him do it. He got out of the car, he hooked it up, and walked away from it. I was like, that's pretty cool.
There you go.
Pretty cool. Yeah. So.
All right. Well, that's all. We couldn't figure it out, and I was thinking maybe that, but like you said, would they do that? But I guess they do.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yes, I guess they can. Well, we don't know if they do. We know that they can.
Right.
Well, for one offense,
to do it.
Yeah. Well, for one offense, is pretty.
Think of that offense. I mean, a red light ticket. It's like what was it, like $50? Then there's $30 administrative. It comes to like an $85 ticket. Now the booting fee to remove the boot. She's going for maybe a couple $100.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Yeah, which just goes to prove keep your nose clean.
That's right.
Or pay your tickets.
And you got to take it back to them too. You got to drive to either Hempstead or.
Oh my God!
It's only place in Hicksville.
I would tell them, look, the bridge over Sunrise. Find it in the creek because that's where I left it with my wheel attached.
Yeah, GPS that.
Yeah, go find that out in the Atlantic Ocean. I was shark fishing. I needed ballast.
The boat anchor.
Right. Thanks, Kev.
You guys, thanks. Bye bye.
Talk to you soon. Bye bye. Another brain scratcher from Kevin from Massachusetts.
All right, we have another caller waiting to get to. Now I'm getting cue calls on my phone. This is great.
Boy. Yeah,
I'm trying to cue engineer the show on the fly through the phone.
All right, so I think we're going to go to it, right?
Okay,
yes.
That may or may not be right.
Back to the phones. Back to what Ray calls the fun. Say hi, you're on with the Motormouths.
Hello, it's Glenn the Car Hunter.
Hey, Glenn.
Hey, how are you, Glenn? How you been?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing well. I've been seeing your posts on Facebook. You have been a busy man lately.
Oh, yeah. Running around. Not as busy as you guys. I had trouble getting through on the phone today.
That's always the case. That's always the case. Riveting conversation always huddles the masses. But
very, very true.
So, Glenn,
I've been listening to you guys, following up on the radio show a couple days later when I get a chance, and you guys were talking about a movie.
This was Sunday.
Last Sunday?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Drug dealer, detective.
Cop, remember?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, that movie was American Gangster.
American Gangster, thank you.
Glenn was doing the same thing by his computer that I was doing. Like, it's American Gangster. It was right by your house. Yeah. How come you don't remember?
I didn't remember it. I swear to God, I had one of those brain moments. It just did not pop in. But yeah, it was American Gangster. That was it. Russell Crowe. And
Denzel Washington. But that isn't the real thing. Glenn has a real tie to that movie.
How's that, Glenn?
I was in the movie.
There you go.
No way. Really? How did that happen?
Well, I had the antique NYPD cars, so I was kind of the go-to guy. So that movie actually started about 2 years before they actually completed it.
Uh-huh.
And the director, Ridley Scott, had decided not to do the movie, and Denzel Washington walked off without him.
Oh.
So it went into hiatus.
Right.
So I get a phone call 2 years later. I helped them build a couple police cars, and 2 years later, the cars were sitting at one of the studios in Brooklyn, and apparently the keys were in it, and someone took all the sirens and everything off the cars.
Well, it's Brooklyn, you know.
So it was like panic. We we need 13 police cars. We need them like right now. The movie's going back into production. Hurry, hurry. So gave them a hand with it, and used some of my cars, some of my friends' cars, and we had a chance to be on the set, which was pretty cool. It was fun up in Harlem.
Mm-hmm.
So I was up at the production shop, and they used an old dealership up on the New York City border, and it was just loaded. He told me he read the script, the prop master, they give him a checkbook, and he just went around the country buying cars that he thought would fit into the movie.
Nice.
And they were all parked on Avenue V when I got there.
Yeah. So what do they do with those cars after the fact, Glenn, when they buy them?
It was funny. They actually had a big sale. He made it like a used car lot.
Oh, cool.
And they were taking bids on the cars.
Wow.
And he had everything. A lot of the cars, they call them the hero cars. They always have at least 2 or 3 of the main cars for different scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a big sale. You come up there and you bid on the cars. I was playing around in that yard. I drove everything. I drove Old City, the old fishbowl buses and checker cabs. We were just playing with everything up there. And
but how many did you buy?
I bought one only.
Oh, wow.
I had a couple friends that bought cars too, but I bought a 67 Fury 1, which was funny because the car was the only one that wasn't in the end of the production shop before the filming.
Mm-hmm.
And I pull up at the set the first day we're filming, and I see this mid-67 Fury 1 from the Midwest. And I says, oh, man. So I told them, I says, just remember me when this comes up, when this movie is over. So I wound up buying one of the police cars as well.
Nice.
Very cool. That is awesome. I know they keep a couple of movie cars down by the Brooklyn Navy Yard. I think they always have a stack of them down there, and that's what you'll find. Like, you'll find cabs, checker cabs. They're painted one color on one side, and they're painted a whole different color scheme on the other side. So when they're using the cars for like different shots or whatever, they park them on
different eras.
Different eras, yeah. So they do stuff like that, and they have those cars. And I know they have a lot of them because some of them are even parked outside. I don't know if I'm giving away any trade secrets, but I know some of them are even parked outside.
There's a couple things going on there. Steiner Studios has their big studio there now in the Navy Yard.
Right.
And they'll often have something left there. Not too much, really, but there are guys in the area that have checker cabs. There's actually a hotel down by 59th Street Bridge. I know has 2 checker cabs. There's one guy running around doing food tours, Famous Fat Dave. He's got a checker cab that's restored that he takes people on food tours in New York.
Uh-huh.
You see a lot of stuff down by the Navy Yard. I don't think there's too much in the way of prop people down there.
Right.
I know a lot of the prop people are in New Jersey now, and the one I dealt with for American Gangster, he's a family-long prop master. In fact, his grandfather was one of the prop guys on the Phil Silvers show.
Oh, wow.
But he's out in Suffolk County.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's so funny because in my neighborhood, every other year, we always have a movie. Every other year. But
sure, Brooklyn, yeah. That's because the houses haven't changed.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, every time there's a movie set, I can't find a spot in front of my house.
You can't find one on a Wednesday.
Right, any given Wednesday. But it's the truth because they have all the trucks and the equipment and the motorhomes. They line them all up. Every time you see that that paper sign, it says no parking, and you see it all along the whole side of the block. You're like,
I think I told you, they just shot a movie a few blocks from my house a couple of weeks ago.
Really?
And the same thing, that whole block was just shut down.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, great, this is cool.
And at one time, it used to be the coolest thing in the world. Like, hey, there's a movie in our neighborhood. This is great. Oh, now it's like, get these people out of here.
That's because you're old now.
Well, I'll give you a little secret. What? If you go online, there's a site called Online Vacations or on-site vacations. I got to look it up exactly. It'll actually tell you where they're filming in your city.
Oh, yeah.
Holy smokes, that's great.
Or I guess
it'll tell you what days they're going to be filming, what movie it is, what the exact location is. And you actually see people on there. They'll go to the set, and then you'll see them hamming it up, taking some pictures with the stars in the movie.
Right. Yeah, well, buffs. They're kind of, buffs.
Well, we didn't have it that good. When we did the American Gangster, they do the A and the B scenes.
Right.
So when Denzel Washington comes out of the church, when they're arresting him in the movie, he looks to the left, looks to the right, and he sees nothing but police cars.
Right.
well, we shot that scene when he wasn't there, so they just pieced it together. I thought it was pretty funny because in that scene they actually used the antique police cars to block off the traffic in Harlem.
Wow.
Oh, cool.
So they came over to me in one scene. They go, listen, move your car back about 3 feet because there's like a 1995 Oldsmobile behind you, and it's supposed to be 1973.
Yeah.
It's funny, if you actually freeze frame the movie, they use the other shot, and you could see a 1995 Oldsmobile in 1973.
That goes in the goof section on IMDb.
Movie mistakes.
Right.
That's for sure.
So, Glenn, we're going to get you in here in the studio to talk about some other stuff in the upcoming next month, right?
Yeah, I've been, you guys have also been the brunt of some of my ranting, but there's so many car shows now, and a new station popped up on free digital TV called Revin, and it's like revving but short, apostrophe S N, and it's all car shows. And when I really sat down and looked at it, between radio shows like you guys and internet shows and YouTube channels, cable, them posting an actual Velocity channel. You've heard my ranting. I think some of the shows are a little too much drama.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I actually love the fact that when you get true down with the guys in the hobby that are really car guys, the whole point of this is we're having fun. We're enjoying each other's company.
Right.
And you see people fighting and all this produced drama, and I've actually scrutinized it pretty heavy.
Yes, you have.
And I don't know if we're going to talk about the person that I've scrutinized the most because he's been on your show a couple of times.
We can, because it's, what, it's journalism. It's fair game, and I'll say right now, it's Mark Warman from Graveyard Cars.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a Mopar guy. You guys know that. Everybody knows me. I'm a Mopar guy. And nothing more exciting than to see a show devoted to Mopars.
Right.
For an hour. And when I watch the show, unfortunately, it becomes very apparent that a lot of the chaos and drama is created.
Yeah, and even with the redesign of the show for this second half of last season, which is kind of weird, it is redesigned, different people, blah, blah, blah. You made some good points in the diatribe you wrote. I was going to write to Mark last week after last week's show because they're doing something. Now, he owns the production company that does his show. He's got total control. And he's doing something that you see on Spike and on some of the other networks where the last 10, 15 seconds of the show before a commercial break, when they come back, they play that again. It's almost like you got up early to leave, so we're going to play, I didn't get up. I was listening to it. I don't want to hear it again. Because now you're eating up another 20, 30, however many seconds of that show that I want to see new material.
It's a technique.
I hate it. I really hate it. It's almost like I take a great offense to that.
It's funny, Glenn, because this is what we always talk about. There's two groups of people that watch these shows. There's the real gearheads that want to see the nuts and bolts like we do, and then there's the housewives and the casual viewers and all those kind of car guys that kind of feed on the drama.
Yeah.
They kind of get swept up in the whole thing. So it's almost like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. If you do an all-tech show and only a certain amount of people watching, then your producers come over to you and go, you guys should start fighting.
There's ways like Stacey David's show, Chip Fooz's show, Lou Santiago, his shows. They're really tech related and they stay that way. I've had guys.
And we support those.
In my
guys.
chiropractor's office, I had a guy ask me this week, "Hey, did you see the show?" And everybody rants about the same thing. All the real car guys have the same complaints. And you have to agree. What do you?
Unlike the show here, unlike Motormouth Radio, when Ray and I fight, it's for real.
Yeah, there's no scripting here.
There's no scripting here.
No.
Yeah. Well, the funny part with Graveyard Cars is the cast from last season, they don't work there. He actually has a staff behind the scenes that are actually doing the restorations. And I won't take away from him that he is a good body man. I've watched him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He is fantastic putting decals on. He can be very thorough and detailed. Sometimes I think he goes out of his way when he was using a microphone to record the decibels of the guy's muffler.
Yeah.
Okay, so just put the same mufflers back on.
Right. I know.
It's a little too much showboating to make it feel like maybe he is the ultimate Mopar expert. And I got to say, I don't know anybody who knew who this guy was before he begged the show.
Yeah, well, he's from Springfield, Oregon, so he's not in the forefront, in the spotlight of the country. He's, running a body shop out there, Welby's Collision, and he doesn't. I don't think he just learned it for the TV show. I think he's been doing it for a long time.
Right.
He does have credibility in that respect. But yeah, he's not one of the ones like there are guys like that we know that are much more prominent in the. And maybe they chose to be that way, and he chose not to. I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, we don't mind talking about it on a what would you say, reporting sort of level, on a journalistic level. We don't mind talking about this at all, Glenn. I mean, it is what it is. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Glenn. Guys, and myself included, that want to see a technical show. I mean, I watch technical videos. I go on websites and watch technical, what do you call them, webinars that are just technical based. But that's just me. That's what I want to know. Mm-hmm. And I like that in my TV shows. But, it's what sells. It all comes down to what's going to sell and what's, like Orange County Choppers. That was the show I loved to hate as it got into its later tenure. And people loved it.
And how about Boyd Coddington? How about that guy?
American Hot Rod.
Love to hate him.
But the thing was...
I'm talking about that in my blog now. Boyd Coddington was, I guess, the first show we got. And I never realized what a nasty guy he was. And it makes you turn away because you appreciate it more. I mean, Chip Foose, a lot of people think, he kind of customizes cars he shouldn't customize. But if you watch it, those teams are working together and they're all enjoying themselves.
That's right.
Even if they're working overnight. There's a camaraderie that exists that I think is an important part of this hobby. And, I go into it in the blog this week where I'm actually going through most of the popular shows, and I'm talking about the differences between the shows and what can be tolerated and not. I mean, I don't think most of the public needs an exact technical manual.
Give out the blog, Glenn. What's the blog?
The blog it's Car Hunter, but you could find it by one word, Cars, C-A-R-Z, Hunt. As one word, C-A-R-Z-H-U-N-T, space, and then punch in the word blog, and it'll come up.
Great.
I haven't had a chance to do as many story-type blogs, so I'm pretty much posting events lately on it. Mm-hmm. But that seems to be what most people want. I got to be honest with you. Most people don't read. I've kind of done a little litmus test, and not all the people that follow the blog read everything. They'll skim through the pictures, and sometimes they don't even skim through the pictures all the way.
Right. No, well, you do put quite a lot on. You have a lot of meat in there. There's a lot of stuff to go through, and I guess people have limited time. But I want to say this in closing for this event at least. These shows, especially the controversial ones, in my opinion, have spurned a new kind of car guy, and I think we've all seen him. It's the guy at work or wherever you see them that comes up and says, "Hey, did you see so-and-so show?" And now he starts spouting figures. "Hey, did you know there are only 1 or 2 or 3 or 4?" Or he'll throw some engine stuff at you. Gee, when you use that Duntorf cam. And the guy knows nothing past that.
So car guys have turned into sports guys.
That I guess, that's a good analogy. Good analogy.
That is a good analogy.
But they think they know what they're talking about because they saw it on TV. And they really, and those are the guys you could just go through with a buzzsaw. I usually say, "Have a nice day."
Well, when I come back and I sit down with you guys in the studio, we'll talk a little bit about some of the errors I've seen coming out of so-called experts' mouths.
There's plenty of them, there's plenty, yes.
Well, okay. We're going to save that for the studio visit, Glenn. Thank you so much for giving us a call and tapping into this.
Okay, great job there, guys. I'll catch up with you, and I'll keep listening, and I'll see you shortly in the studio.
Hopefully you'll say that on your blog so people will think kindly of us. Thanks, Glenn.
So long. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Glenn the Car Hunter. Yes, with stuff to pick about. We're always interested in here at Motormouth Radio. Ray Guarino, I'm Chris Switzer. Who's the Motormouth Radio Honor Group of the Hour, Ray?
People who hog parking spots.
That's right. You can't keep it between the lines. You're part of the Motormouth Radio Honor Group of the Hour, so please keep it where you got it. You lucky dog.
Let the Motormouths help you with all of your car questions at 516-572-7440.
This is a potted plant. You can't see it because this is radio.
You're listening to the Motormouths.
Join me, Ron Stevens, as we count down the top 20 hits of a featured week and hear lots of bonus hits from that memorable decade. So listen to the Super 70s on 90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College.
The Super 70s, Tuesday at 12 a.m. and Saturday at 7 a.m. on 90.3 WHPC.
Running right. Let the Motormouths help you out at 516-572-7440.
Oh, have that man checked out. 516-572-7440 is the phone number. The phones are on fire. Let's go back to them and say hi, you're on with the Motormouth.
Yeah, hi. I got a collect call for Motormouth Radio.
Sure, we're taking all kind of collections.
It's either that or your lunch order on the phone.
Oh, good. I'm hungry.
What's up, Bill? How are you?
Okay, I just wanted to throw my uneducated 2 cents in, the guy with the boot.
Yes. What a boot. What a boot it.
What I believe they do, they create lists where they load in data, meaning license plates.
Right.
And there may, in fact, be a hierarchy out there. They may have a dedicated scofflaw unit.
Okay.
Where they give that data to, and they just cruise around. And when they get a hit...
Oh, use a license plate reader.
Exactly.
Yeah, gotcha.
They hammer the guy.
Okay.
So the low-tech version of our high-tech theory, I guess.
That's not low-tech. That's very high-tech.
You know, they may have another unit, like if somebody is like an escaped murderer, a terrorist, whatever.
A radio host.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad radio host.
You know, they're on the lookout. A certain unit, you know, like calling all cars.
Right.
You know, that's a hot deal where they want that guy, you know, locked up.
That makes sense. Yeah, and with license plate readers proficient, I mean, they use them, you see them running down parking lots in malls, parking lots all over the place.
The license plate readers, if I'm not mistaken, are those 2 black boxes that sit on the backs of the cars.
Well, they're mounted sometimes I've seen them mounted on the front fenders facing out. I've seen them on the roofs, and I've seen them on the back.
Yeah.
So depending on...
I've got a friend, if his inspection sticker is expired, he is afraid to use the car.
Wow.
You know, and he says, they've got license plate readers. I said,
yeah, but
I've had that issue where, I'm not saying it's smart, but you drive with the expired sticker. I probably passed the readers. I don't think an expired inspection sticker is worth their time to put out, like a detail.
Right. No, I think you're right. I think the profit margin's a lot higher with something like that, with a red light ticket.
I agree, but I always think that you're really going to take that chance.
No, I mean, it's not smart.
Right.
But yet if they can load up data, if they have how many thousand red light tickets on paid,
right.
No,
and they
true.
probably figure if they go down, like Hempstead Turnpike, Sunrise Highway, Jericho Turnpike, whatever.
Right.
They can claw a couple of,
Yeah, they're trolling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they use those plate readers for a lot of different tactical reasons that we're not going to get into right now.
Could even be child support.
There's a lot of things. A lot of things. I've heard about a lot of specific incidents that really we don't need to get into now. But yeah, like you said, if a guy is on patrol, if an officer's on patrol and he's instructed to activate that reader. Just my niece was on Sunrise Highway out in Suffolk County, and she was on the side of the road changing a flat tire, and the cop pulled in front of her and wanted to arrest her. She could arrest me for a flat tire. No, your van is stolen. What? No, it's not. It had been stolen, and it was recovered and returned to her months earlier.
Wow!
But they never took it off the list of stolen vehicles, and his license plate reader caught it, and she had to do some real fancy footwork to get out of that. And, there you go. They conveniently forgot to take it off the list.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. But again, they may have a boot detail.
Yes, exactly. I think you're right, Bill.
They target X. They give them all the data. I doubt those are the bulldog, bail jumper, shotgun toting.
Right.
It's not special
taser,
ops. Squad.
Yeah, they don't have the plastic shield, the full-length body shield sitting in the back of the car.
Yeah, it's probably
the tank.
It's probably
tank.
It's a certain level of infraction and up.
Right.
Is what it is. Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense.
And they're on the lookout, and they got the boots and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now I don't know what other data if they give them if they get a hit on, Mr. Escapee if they radio it in, but the guy that just has a couple of boots, in a van, I don't think they're going to take down a Whitey Bulger.
Right. What would really suck if you had borrowed somebody's car or you needed another car and you were out, had to go to like a doctor appointment or something. You come out and the car was booted because the car was in infraction, but it wasn't you. Now you're on the hook for the day of misery.
Mm-hmm.
At least get another ride.
Right.
Well, Bill, thanks so much for that input. That's really
maybe
cool.
you can get somebody from the inside to elaborate.
Well, I should be in a meeting tonight where I'll be in a room full of those people, and I could certainly ask.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah. Just, when you go outside, make sure your vehicle isn't got a boot on it.
Exactly. Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Hang in there.
All right.
We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, bye.
Well, that looks like you, Ray.
Yeah, I had a couple of quick other topics. We're not going to get to them today. We'll revisit them on Sunday.
Yeah, holy smokes, what a quick hour. This really went very fast. It's amazing. Sometimes you turn around and you go, holy smokes, I got to play the end music.
Right. Well, again, it was caller-driven, good stories, and it was a lot of topicality, so that's what we like to do.
Very true. And as soon as we can play the end music, where is it?
Yeah, find it.
It's here
Those guys
somewhere.
in here.
There it is.
There's a sousaphone player.
Hey, these guys I think they're union. For Ray Guarino, I'm Chris Switzer. What's coming up next week?
Nothing so far. We're open. We do have Ed Mangano coming in, I believe, the 12th.
Yes.
But that's a couple of weeks away. We're going to be, I think it's the 12th.
12th.
That would be probably...
That would be like next week.
It is next week, next Thursday, right. But we have to get through Sunday first.
That's true.
And then we'll be talking with the county executive.
So Sunday we're going to give the show to the callers unless someone drops out of the sky, and then we're going to talk to Ed Mangano on Thursday.
You finally got this figured out.
I think I did. For Ray Guarino, I'm Chris Switzer. This is Motormouth Radio. We'll talk on Sunday, and always remember, don't follow us home. See ya.
Bye.
Show devoted to the music of Long Island's own Billy Joel. This is Piano Man on 90.3 FM, WHPC, Garden City, New York.